Hey everyone, so today I thought I'd show you all how I run the lines on my boat, and because I'm single-handed a lot of the time, I try to run as many lines as possible aft to the cockpit, and the reason I do that is because it's the safest area outside on the boat, and I don't want to leave that area very often while I'm underway, and the other reason is that it's convenient, so anytime I need to make an adjustment on a line, everything's really close and I don't have to travel too far to do that. So standing at the helm here, you can see there are a lot of lines on the port side and the starboard side, and although it looks confusing, it's not really, and each of those lines has a job to do. Here you can see a little closer on the port side. Over on the starboard side. Once I get all these lines uncoiled, it'll be a little easier to explain and show you what line does what job. Well, there you go, that looks a little cleaner on the bulkhead. I always hoist the main first, so one of the things I get ready before I go is taking the sail cover off. So the first thing I need to do is find out which line is the main halyard for the main sail, which I know is this one. So I just take it off the lock there and give it some slack, and then I can walk forward and attach it to the mainsail, and it'll be ready to hoist at that point. Of course, the other thing I would have to do is remove these sail ties before I could hoist. So it's a little too windy to actually hoist the main right now while we're here at the dock. So I'll just have to explain this next part. And the sail's folded all over onto the boom, and the boom has to be supported somehow. When the sail is up, it's supported and held up by the sail, but when it's down, I have to keep this boom elevated and lifted somehow. So that's done with this topping lift that goes all the way to the top of the mast there. And what I've done with this topping lift is I've made it so it's removable through that little clip, and it's also adjustable all from the cockpit. So the line goes forward under the sail there to the mast and down, and then comes back. You can see the black line here. And once I've hoisted the sail up, then I can release this and it will lower the boom so it rests to the level that the sail would hold it at normally. The next sail I'm going to take out is the head sail, and that's on a roller furling on the forestay, so there's no hoisting, I just have to unfurl it. So let's take a look at how that works. So to control the furling system, I have this line here. It's in a little jam cleat, and I'll just first show you where it goes. It goes from the cockpit through there, through little couple guides along the deck, through a block there, and up to the drum. You can see the red speckled line there. It's wrapped around the head sail. Those are the sheets. And each one of those comes back to a winch. So to let out the head sail, I just have to release it from the jammer there. And then all I have to do is start pulling on the sheet, and that will unfurl the head sail completely. But again, it's too windy to do this at the dock. So here's a clip from one of my videos when I was sailing in November, and you can see how the head sail just unfurls. The wind usually helps pull the sail out as you pull it out. And to put it away, all I do is make sure there's no tension on the sheets, and I just pull on that furling line and it'll work with the drum and furl that sail up completely back onto the forestay. So I mentioned how the mainsail supports the boom when it's hoisted. You also have to have a counterforce holding this boom down, otherwise the wind would just grab the boom and it would rise uncontrollably. So to do that, to keep the downward force on the boom, you have a main sheet, which is this white line with the black flecks in it. And you also have a boom vang, which is just a little more forward. And that's used more in the downwind scenario, but I won't really get into that. But these are your two ways you are able to keep the downward force on the boom, which you absolutely need. Now I have my main sheet which travels forward along the underside of the boom there. I'm not sure if you can still see the white line with the black flecks, and it comes along the cabin top to a winch. So I'm able to control this line from the cockpit as well. And I also have the power of a winch, which is nice to have sometimes because there's a lot of force on these sails. And here's a closer look at the boom vang. It's just an older faded line I haven't replaced yet, and it goes down to the base of the mast through a deck organizer, and it also comes back to the cockpit. Now I'm not sure if I'm super happy with this setup. I do like being able to control it from the cockpit, but I also like being able to detach the bottom end of the pulley system here, which you can see it's actually set up for. There's a shackle, and there is a little jam cleat that I just had removed. But what you're able to do then is when you're downwind sailing, you can take this section of the pulley system off and you can attach it to the tow rail, so that's like a preventer, so that you wouldn't accidentally jibe and have the boom swing over. So I'm probably going to set that back up that way because I don't do a lot of adjustments with this, and I think it's more important to have a preventer option. Now at the base of the main sheet, which is the white line with the black flecks, you can see it's attached to a block system that goes along a track. That's the traveler, and that controls the position of the bottom of that main sheet along the track from side to side. And when I first bought the boat, right where the blocks are there was a jammer, like a jam cleat, and the Dodger had a Velcro section that you undid and you had to reach through to try and release one side so you could pull the other side in, and it was really inconvenient. It was really awkward and I didn't like it at all, and I wanted to be able to stay inside the cockpit easier and not have to fiddle with this Velcro flap. So I changed that setup a little bit. So what I did was I removed the jam cleat and ran the lines a little differently, so now it exited the front of the Traveler, and it goes forward to a block that I mounted to the cabin top, and then it comes right back underneath the traveler this time, right to here. And now I can control everything right from the bulkhead. One thing I really like about these little spin lock jammers is that to release it, you just pull the line up and it releases. To lock it, just pull it down. And if you want to pull on the line, it doesn't have to be in the released position. So I can let go of that line, and I know it's not going to go back because it's in the locked position, but I can still pull on it without worrying about it going back the other direction if there's a big load on it. And then to release it, just pop it out, and now it would go through. I hope everyone enjoyed the video explaining what the different lines do on my boat. And I know for the viewers out there that have lots of sailing experience, this may have been a little redundant or boring, but I'm hoping for the viewers that have limited experience or no experience that maybe they can see it's not so complicated, and I hope they were able to learn something from the video. When I'm racing, I use a spinnaker on the downwind leg. So what I'm doing here is just setting up the pole that I use with the spinnaker. And if you're interested in seeing how the pole is set up and the lines that are used to work the pole, then please check out the next video.